Today we're going to talk about kit bashing some Mantic and Games Workshop zombies to get the most zombies for your buck, and because it's just fun to kit bash. Now everyone loves zombies, but do we really love these ones? These from the Cursed City box set were definitely closer to the mark, even though they do look like a kind of 19th century Gothic Byronic reimagining of the zombie. I mean, who walks around with that on their back? So I was pretty pleased when the actual box set came out, where you could actually change a lot of the pieces around, and most of them looked like kind of zombies you could use throughout the ages. And so you got 20 of the Games Workshop ones in your box, but then you got 60 for not far off that price from Mantic, even though they all look like the Thriller video from the 80s by Michael Jackson. Thriller. Okay, I'll stop there. And then I was going to use these as some Graveguard, and there are loads of excess heads, so where do they fit in? I guess you'll see. People may often ask whether you can mix together and kit bash all the various zombie kits out there for games like Age of Sigmar and Kings of War, and the answer is, well, for the ones I'm going to show, that yes, you can. So let's take some miniatures and just talk through which bits are which. So that's a Mantic zombie with the head from an Oathmark Revenant kit. That's a Games Workshop zombie body with probably the best head from the Mantic zombie kit. What do you think? What do you think number one?
I think that the head, and you said it was the best head.
I think so.
I don't think so.
You don't think so, right?
It's a bit weird with the...
This one, because obviously, gender equality in Undeath. That's a fully Games Workshop head and body. And as you can see, they all scale together reasonably, yes? Yes?
I won't break it. That's pretty creepy.
Yes.
You should paint them. They'll look really good if you paint them.
They're part of the lead pile, darling, or the plastic pile. They'll never be painted.
I think that maybe you should do a painting video, maybe one day where you paint something and you put it on camera.
That would be cool. That guy is a fully Mantic zombie, having a Shakespearean moment talking to the head. Now this one is a Revenant head, an Oathmark Revenant head on a Games Workshop body. Fully Games Workshop. Fully Mantic. But as you can see, they all seem to scale perfectly well together, because the new Games Workshop zombies don't seem to be as bulky as the old ones. That's an example there of a Games Workshop head on a Mantic body, and as you can see, it really adds a lot of character and casting quality. Now the key thing is, in terms of whether the heads match, is there is a kind of a nub at the top of the Mantic zombie heads, and some of the Games Workshop heads don't go all the way to the back, so not all of them fit, so you should really pre-measure before you start.
Can I see?
Yes, sure you can.
I've just been dancing.
Very good.
Let me see him.
Games Workshop head, Mantic body.
Creepy. Should I put it on?
Games Workshop head, Mantic body, because the bodies are perfectly good and detailed, but the heads, not all the Mantic heads are that great.
Can I say something?
Yes, darling, what would you like to say?
Let me hold it.
Mantic head, Workshop body. What do you want to say, number one?
I can see. This is very funny.
What do you think about the fact that that there are these weird graves stuck to the backs of the zombies having come back from undead?
I think that they were digged in the ground, dug in the ground, but then because they were freaks, they undug themselves.
I think that's basically the Games Workshop lore, but that's a Revenant head on a Games Workshop body. Workshop head on a Mantic body. Oathmark Revenant head on a Mantic body, because they've given them these kind of top knots, these Swabian top knots, from I think the Germanic tribes at the time of Caesar and all that jazz, but basically it means you can use them as the heads of undead women. Please don't touch that, number one. Now, some of the bits on the Games Workshop kit are extremely fiddly, like the top of that shovel has broken off already. So will it survive all? At this point, child number one, having done the Thriller's 80s dance and confessed to it, decides that discretion is the better part of valor, and food is much more interesting than looking at things that are well out of an appropriate age range for her to be looking at, and just vanishes off the scene. And here's one with a Revenant head and a kind of Gaulish, maybe Bronze Age type helmet on a Mantic body, and it works quite well. It covers all the way to the back of that head nub that I mentioned, and it fits in quite well with the Games Workshop ones. I mean, obviously people are different sizes, and they're not wildly different at all. There's a fully Games Workshop miniature. There's one on either side. So there's one of the Mantic faces. They're not that bad. They're clearly a bit more degenerated than the Workshop ones, but nothing wrong with that. You can see it fits onto the Workshop body, no particular problems. I thought the gravestone stuck on the back was a bit stupid, but you know, hey, all adds a bit of difference in character. And I mean, the Games Workshop undead look a bit too animated, really, you know, for the shambling undead. They seem to be more kind of series 1 of The Walking Dead, where they all seem to be still a bit more human. Look at her wielding a knife over there. Another few examples of where the Games Workshop head really spruces up the Mantic shambler. Even if they've taken an axe to the head. But there you go, it does all fit together. As I mentioned, some of these bits are extremely brittle. I mean, that scythe is not going to last very long. And there's a Revenant head, an Oathmark Revenant head on the Workshop body. They all seem to be pretty much similar scale, which was good. Now, I thought it'd be fun to have a few little diorama type ones at the back, you know, from the kind of spawning grounds. And these are all Mantic bodies. Those are Renedra gravestones. I only had a few left. There's so many better gravestones. The only thing is they're all crosses. So they look a bit overly Christian for the Age of Sigmar universe. But, you know, there may be many religions there, and some may have crosses. You know, it's a universal thing. Like that looks like a gladiator knife fighter, and it's a Revenant head. Some of the Games Workshop pieces actually did seem to leave quite big gaps between the various pieces, but maybe that was just me failing to clear the moulding lines properly, but that's life. And I think this one wasn't very successful, because I don't think your arms would be that far apart. But hey, you know, I'm not into anatomy. And here's the last one, I suppose, which is a Mantic head on a Workshop body. And there you can see some of the Mantic heads are a bit big, but I don't think anyone would notice, as he was clearly carrying the burden of his grave. And that's it. The answer broadly is, yes you can. And look, they're all about the same height. And then, using the backdrop of the artwork of child number one, let's just have a bit of a still shot of some of the more interesting pieces. There is alas poor Yorick, we knew him well. The dodgy spade. Games Workshop head on Mantic body. Revenant head on Games Workshop body. The best Mantic head on Games Workshop body, and you can see there, yeah, we'll see if that just vanishes in the painting, that little weird line between pieces. And there's a Revenant head on Games Workshop body. Oh, I do love that head. It just fits on everything. One of the helmeted Revenant heads. You know, I'm sure I remember hearing on some history podcast that, you know, in the Dark Ages, they found like 300 bodies or something dumped at the bottom of some British lake. And, well, he might be one of those guys who just was on the wrong side of some local little tribal war. Come back from the dead. He's desperate to get out of their grave. Look at him, he's just dived out of there. That one is definitely one of the extras from the Thriller video. And who knows how that helmet got out of the ground, but, you know, it did. And there, I think I made a mistake earlier. That's a Games Workshop body and a Revenant head. Yes, there you go. Please do like, subscribe, comment, all those things they say for all those cool YouTube kind of content makers. I mean, you know, I've got 100 subscribers, which is amazing. Be nice to have a few more. Go on, click, and see you soon. Cheers.